My dear friends, I want to begin today's call by wishing everybody a Gemar Chasima Tova. My name is Herschel Lutch, and on behalf of myself and the other alumni chairmen, Mitch Spielfogel, David Charedim, and David Mayberg, we really appreciate that everybody's taking time out of their day to join together and to learn Torah from our beloved and dear Rabbi Lazerus. There are going to be two parts to this call. The first will be the live shir from Rabbi Lazerus, and just as a default, everybody's microphone is on mute because otherwise there's too much background noise that we found. But if you turn your video on and keep your video on, Rabbi Lazerus will be able to see you, and I know how much you'll appreciate the two-way communication. And then after the Rav shir, we'll have a question and answer period. And to ask a question, there are really two ways you can do it. I think best is if you turn on your microphone to ask your question during the question and answer part. That would be great. But if you don't want to do that for whatever reason, you can see at the bottom of your screen, there's a chat feature, and you could certainly type your question if that's more convenient. I want to thank second-year Bacher Yossi Dixler, who's helping with the IT today. So Yossi, thank you for that. And of course, a huge Yasher Kayach as always goes to Rabbi Brickman, who has freed up resources and made this whole alumni Chabura effort possible. So without any further ado, we go live to Jerusalem for Morenu Rabbi Lazerus.
My topic obviously will have to do with Lazerus Yimei Tshuva and how that is supposed to affect us. I want to prepare for Yom Kippur. How do we prepare for Yom Kippur? First thing is we remember that on Rosh Hashanah we were Mamlich Hashem. We made Hashem our king. Okay, so I just want to remind everybody, Rosh Hashanah is over, but Hashem is still a king. So that was the vote that we did, okay? And it was to accept and appreciate Hashem and Hashem's monarchy, the fact that he is a king over us. The Gra, and other Mepharshim as well, explained that the difference between a Melech and a Moshel is that a Melech rules with the consent of the people, because the people want him to be the king. A Moshel rules by force. He's the one who has the power to control, and he's the Moshel. Hashem Moshel Bagoyim. But with us, he's a Melech. He's Moshel over the nations. But for us, he is our king. Now that we've accepted Hashem as our Melech, it will affect our lives. But the question is, have we really accepted Hashem as our king? Or have we merely said it? Sometimes we say things, but we don't really mean it. We don't really feel it. I want to relate a story that happened to me. Several years ago, we had a Shabbaton in Derech in England, in London. And on Sunday morning, I stayed for another day or two. And Sunday morning, I was asked to give a shir in a shul in Golders Green. And so I...
No, you can keep going.
Okay. Hi, Shamai. Okay, now.
Rabbi, now you see everybody?
Yeah, I see a whole bunch of people.
Okay, Yofi.
Very nice. Okay. I feel like you're here. So I came, there was a stender there, and there was this thing on the stender that looked like either a recorder or some kind of gadget. I I still don't know what gadget. I still don't know what. I'm still intimidated by computers. So I see it there. I don't know what it is. Someone telling me it's a telephone. Telephone, okay. Bother me. I go on to say this year, I want to prove to them that sometimes we say things, we don't really mean it, but we'll say it because we're either intimidated to do it or we're afraid, so we do it. So I told them, I said, gentlemen, I have something to tell you. I know you'll find this very, very difficult to accept. I know I look like a person, but I'm really a frog. Well, you can imagine this goes over. You have to picture. You have to be English to really appreciate this. You know. So I'm looking around and I see all the eyebrows go like this. You know. And I say, I am a frog. You do believe me, don't you? And I see them turning to each other, and they're probably thinking, who invited this Meshuvah here? You know, like, anyway, I said, so gesund. So I said, you see this belt over here? It has explosives. Anyone here who says that I'm not a frog, I'm going to blow us all up. Anyway, they weren't sure who this Meshuvah was anyway. They weren't, so I said, I'm now going to look at everybody. I eyeballed everybody in the shul. And I said, is there anybody here who thinks that I'm not a frog? Please raise your hand. Anyway, nobody raised their hand. I said, so you all believe I'm a frog, right? Answer me, do you believe I'm a frog? So I saw a few people going like this. No, nodding. So I said to them, okay, I'll tell you the truth. I'm not really a frog. But I'll tell you the reason I said this. I wanted to show you that you sometimes can be coerced into saying something you don't really mean. You'll say it. And sometimes we do that in Torah, and we do that with Hashem, because we're afraid. We don't want to get punished. You know, you want to be Hashem's Eved, you want to be close to Hashem. Well, I want to be close to Hashem, but not too close. You know? So, I want to say something about what we're trying to do. You know, Kippur, we're trying to come, we have an opportunity to come close to Hashem. And most committed Jews are going to say they want to have a relationship with Hashem. Exactly how that relationship will work, it's like all relationships, depends on the people involved. Now, you can't have a relationship with someone that you know nothing about. And therefore, we cannot have a relationship with Hashem in his aspect of Ein Sof. Can't have a relationship with him. He's perfect, he needs nothing, he doesn't care about anything. We do Averas or we don't do Averas. However, in his aspect as Borei, creator, then he gave us a Torah. The Torah is a way that we should live. It's a guide to live. But it also, in the Torah, he describes his personality. Because if we're going to have a relationship with him, you have to know who he is. You can't have a relationship with a wall. So you have to know who is Hashem. You want to have any kind of relationship. So you have to have an appreciation of the other party in the relationship, whether it's a friend, whether it's a wife, whether it's a child, whoever it is, you want to have a relationship, whether it's a teacher or a Rabbi, you have to know something about that person's personality that makes you want to have a relationship. There has to be something there. When you say to someone, I love you, do you mean it? I mean, not just do you mean it. Is it you want to love them? I know I should want to love you. Or is it, I feel something. I feel love for you. You're special. That can only come about when you focus on something about the person that you admire. And when you admire that, so then you could, for good qualities, you could fall in love with them. Really. I don't mean fall in love in a romantic sense. I mean, I feel like, read a book about the Chavetz Chaim. He's so good, such a great person. I know when I was younger and I read a book about the Chavetz Chaim, I once wanted to be like, I thought maybe one day I could be like the Chavetz Chaim. As I got older, I realized, okay, you better lower your standards a little bit. But but I loved him. I felt like he was my grandfather. He was so good. If you find goodness, you will love it. So if you have a friend and you are able to focus on their good points, you will love them. In Hebrew, there's no different, there's only one word for liking and loving, it's ava. In English, we're fortunate. We have a word, I like somebody, and I love somebody. Loving is a much stronger emotional commitment. If you want to have a relationship with a person, you have to know something about them. You have to know some good things about them. Okay? You have to focus on their good points, because if you focus on their faults, you won't like them. You can't have a relationship with somebody you don't like. It won't be a good relationship. It won't last. But if you want to have a good relationship, you have to find good things. I did something which is maybe it's a dirty trick, in the olam of Haredim and Torah. Last year, when I gave a drasha in my shul on Rosh Hashanah, I spoke about being Mamlech the Melech, and at the end of the drasha, which was really the reason I gave the drasha, I said, I don't want you to answer me. Nobody answer me. I want to know, tell yourself, ask yourself, can you say 5 good things about your wife's character? Now, I'm talking about people who are older. People who have big families. Some of them are even grandparents. Tell me 5 good things about your wife. Don't tell me. But can you think of 5 words that describe your wife's character? Anyway, I saw so many people scratching their heads. And if I would have asked them, are you happily married? They would have said, sure. So I brought to shul with me my list of 100 traits, which I have in Hebrew because many years ago I translated for my children. And I brought 20 copies. After shul, all 20 copies were taken. I was amazed that B'nai Torah, Chashuv people would be willing to take such a thing. One person came up to me, said, I could tell you 5 good things about my wife. She's mechabed me, she's mechabed me, she's mechabed me, she's mechabed me, she's mechabed me. So I said to him, so she doesn't have personality. She doesn't have no character traits, no nothing. She's a thing, right? Anyway, we started speaking just about a few weeks ago, You got the hint. But that's something that we all have to know. If you want to be real, and you have to be real, the only way you can make a relationship with Hashem is if you're a real person. Real means you're in touch with yourself, and you know what you believe and what you feel, and you know when you don't feel, and you have the integrity to be able to face your emotions and try to deal with them. Find someone to help you. Do it yourself. You know, get a copy of my list. Whatever it is, that's a very important thing to do. And that's how we get ready to change. When we realize what we are and who we are, and we realize that in the relationship that we are trying to have with Hashem, that we have to know something about him. So what does the Torah tell us about Hashem? It tells us that Hashem, first of all, he loves. He loves. He has the emotion of love for however we understand it. He's kel rachum v'chanun erech hapayim rav chesed ve'emes. He's merciful. He does chesed. He's truthful. He's mighty. He's a king. He has majesty. He's very wise. You start putting all these things that the Torah tells us about Hashem together, he's good. And you realize that's who you talk to when you daven. You will start developing a relationship with him because he loves. And it's up to us to be able to make sure that we do our part, okay, which is we have to appreciate him. And he appreciates us. Hashem looks at our positive things. That's what Yom Kippur is about. Yom Kippur is, I'm going to wipe away all your averas, all the negative things. Yom Kippur, you don't have to do anything. If you did tshuva before, you just sit there, and Yom Kippur is like a big eraser, and it's wiping away all your averas. Well, I mean, not all of them, but at least it's wiping away many of them, and much of the ones that it doesn't wipe away. Like if somebody did an avera that was chayv misa, so Yom Kippur helps, but it's tola. Gemara says it's tola. Gemara Yuma, not Pevov. So that's how we relate to Hashem. What do we do on Yom Kippur? We do tshuva, right? We do. Some people do it real fast. They go, and some people do it slower, and they beat themselves. And are they thinking about what they're saying? You can't wait till Yom Kippur to do that. You have to start doing it before. Think about it. And you cannot do tshuva on everything at one time. You have to pick and choose what it is that you're going to work on. You can't do everything at one time. You have to be able to choose and say, this is something I think I can work on. Hashem, as long as you're improving, Hashem is happy. Just like you would be happy if you had a child who needed help, was doing something, and you saw him working and he improved on something. So you feel good about it. That's the way Hashem feels about you. And me too, I hope. What is tshuva? Let me tell you something very interesting. A lot of people don't know this. People know, you know what the maftir and the sefer that we read for maftir on Yom Kippur at Mincha? Yonah ben Amittai. Who was Yonah ben Amittai? And he was singled out as a prophet to go to Ir Hagdolah Ninveh, which was steeped in averas and all kinds of terrible things. And the people who were there were depressed. They were hopeless. They felt, there's no way I can get out of this. I can't do tshuva. They won't help me. It's too hard. There's so many things that I have to do. I can't. It's too much. And it won't work anyway. So Yonah was sent to Nineveh to convince them that they could do tshuva. How did he do that? Who was Yonah? Yonah, according to the Malbim, Yonah's mother was the lady in Sefer Malachim who gave Eliyahu Hanavi water and bread when he needed it. He was hungry, he was thirsty. And then he davened, she had a child, and then the child died. And then he prayed to Hashem, and the child came to life again. He did Tchiyas Amesim. He didn't do it, Hashem did Tchiyas Amesim. He just davened. Yonah Hanavi was then sent. You know who I am? He could say to the people, I know what it's like to be dead and then come back to life again. If Hashem could create from the kever Tchiyas Amesim and we could come back to life again, so then certainly somebody, Kal V'chomer, V'nosha ben Kal V'chomer, you can come and do tshuva, and Hashem will accept it, and he'll help you. He'll help you live, just like he helped dead people live. You're still alive. And it worked. People of Nineveh eventually did tshuva. I want to end with the following. There's a Gemara in Kedushin, and Daf Mem, the right age. Mem Tes Omid Beis. The Gemara says, if someone says to a woman that he wants to marry her, and he says, it's Kachili, marry me. Al-Menasha and Tzaddik. On the condition that I'm a tzaddik. Says the Gemara, Afilu Rasha Gamor, even if he's a Rasha Gamor, Miskadeshes. It's Mikadeshes. Mikudeshes. She's married him. Says the Gemara, why? Shema, here, Tava, B'tshuva, here, B'tshuva, B'daito. In his mind, he did tshuva. He didn't really do tshuva yet, but in his mind, he decided, I'm going to do tshuva. And it's so strong that it's accepted as though he did tshuva. And therefore, she's married to him. He didn't do it yet. He's still a Rosh Hashanah. Because of the fact that he was here, that turned him into a tzaddik. It meant that what he said is true, and that's why it's mikudeshes. It's mikudeshes because he was maharia. So we get helpless feeling. We get depressed. We think it's too hard. There's so much. How can I do it? Right? Once you make up your mind that you want to, that's already, Hashem looks at it as though the Kodeshes. You did it. Now you have a debt. The debt is you have to actually go ahead and do it. But it's a debt. But on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and there's Seres Tshuva, Hashem looks at you as a tzaddik. So, be mahar with tshuva. It's difficult. It's difficult to do tshuva. But be mahar. Think, I want to do it. I made my mind, I want to do it. You have to be sincere. It's not a game. But if you're sincere and you say, I really want to do tshuva for this thing, I've been trying for a long time. It's hard, but I want to do it. I really want to do it. Hashem will see into your heart. He'll understand that you mean it. He will look at you as a tzaddik, and that will be your din. So in Yitz Hashem, on Yom Kippur, when we are trying to do tshuva and we're trying to take upon ourselves things that we feel we're capable of doing, and even if we're just mehaher, just know that on that glorious day, that our averas are just being wiped away because it's that day. The day itself wipes away averas. The machlokas actually there's a machlokas in the Mishnah whether you have to do tshuva or not. Rabbi holds, Rabbi Nasi holds, it works even without tshuva. The Chachamim overrule him. We pass him like the Chachamim. You have to do tshuva. But here tshuva is already a step towards it. So I hope in Yitz Hashem, this Yom Kippur, you'll realize that besides the tension that we have when we sometimes cry and we ask Hashem for forgiveness if we're real, and we should know if we're moved to those tears, He forgives us, just like a father forgives his child. Maybe even our mother or fan forgives her child. And, and you should all be written and sealed in the book of life, in the book of tzaddikim, you and all your families and everyone that you love. And it's Hashem. Hopefully we will meet each other sometime in the future.
Rabbi, thank you so much for being so generous with your time and coming into Yerushalayim to learn with all of us today. Rabose, I want to open up the call both for those people whose video feeds are on and for the many people who are on this call who are in Ne'elam. I want, please, Bavakasha, turn your microphones on to ask away.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can, yeah.
We know that in Hilchos Tshuva, one of the conditions is not to do it again, to say that we're not going to do the Aver again. You mentioned that Hashem wants us to regret it and do better. How do we carve those ideas?
What I was talking about, Hilchos Tshuva, that's your debt. Once you're Mahaya, you say, I want to do Tshuva, you did Tshuva, Hashem, you're already tzaddik. Okay, you could be Mekadosh Leili with that. Even though you didn't do it yet. The Rambam says, in order to do it, you have to do a vidui. According to the Rambam, there's only one mitzvah. No mitzvah specifically of tshuva. The mitzvah is vidui. So you owe vidui. You owe still to do it. You have to be able to say, I aziva sachet, and I'm a kabbalah in the future that I'm not going to do it anymore.
So is the whole thing like a tshuva arichta?
It's an interesting way of explaining it. Yes. But you're forgiven right away. First you're forgiven, and then you just have to make up the debt.
Thank you.
Scratch the surface a little deeper on that question to ask it differently. If Kabbalah ala Asid is a necessary condition, it's an ingredient of tshuva, so Hihurei tshuva accomplish something without a bona fide Kabbalah ala Asid?
Yes. When you say Hihurei tshuva, you mean I would like to be able not to do this anymore.
Our dear brother Akiva asks like this in the chat. He asks, if we can't work on everything at once, how do you pick the one thing to work on? How do you focus?
I can't answer that question because it's a very personal thing. Everybody has to pick the thing or the things, doesn't have to be just one thing, but not too many, that bothers him about himself. He has to be real. He has to know himself, and he has to feel this thing that I whatever it is. Some people, it's I'm so honest in business. Yuhuri Avera, whatever it is that a person feels that he wants to work on, so he has to choose, and it's very personal. Each person has to choose the thing that bothers him, bothers his conscience. I hope that helped the team.
If I could ask another question, if I don't check.
Please go ahead.
Okay. So I remember the Rebbe saying that it's kedai to do tshuva for areas that we've done and already done tshuva before. Could you address that idea?
You just said it. That's what we should try to do.
Why? If I already did tshuva, then shouldn't it be that?
To make sure that we're still holding the tshuva.
If I were to stand in front of a king, why would I remind him of the things that I've done bad and we've already put behind us?
You're not reminding him about something he doesn't know. But you are saying to him, I still feel bad about that. I not only was I apologized, and I'm trying not to ever do that again. But you should know I still feel bad about it. By the way, not just standing a king, okay? Your friends, your wives, your whoever it is, your children that you apologize to, you can make sure that they're still, when I apologize to my kids when they were smaller, now I don't do anything wrong. When my kids were smaller, I used to do things wrong. I'm joking. When they were smaller, when I would ask for forgiveness, if I accused them of doing something that they really didn't do, which I was guilty of occasionally, but I would say, do you forgive me? And of course, my children always say, of course I will. I said, no. That was too easy. I said, do you really forgive me? I want to see. You want me to cry? I feel terrible. I made you feel bad. I didn't. That wasn't what my intention was. Do you really forgive me? You have to make sure that the person really forgives you, just that he's not doing it because you're a frog, not doing it because you have a belt that has explosives on it. He's doing it because he really forgives you, and that's the way forgiveness works. If someone insults you, and then they come and say Rosh Hashanah, they go around, they say, are you malchal me, you malchal me, you malchal, especially in yeshivas this happens. Yeshivas and in girls' schools, they go around the front ones and say, you malchal me, you malchal me, you malchal me, you malchal me. My oldest daughter, when she was in seminary, so this girl came over to her and said, you malchal me? So she said, what do I have to malchal you for? She said, I said Lashon Hara about you. So my daughter said, that's wonderful. You know what the Chafetz Chaim says about that? You get all my averas, I get all your mitzvahs. Of course I'm malchal you. The girl turned white, So I don't mess with that daughter of mine. She's a grandmother already, so I certainly don't mess with it. But that's what Mechila really is. This girl was going around going, you're malchal me, you're malchal me. I didn't care. Oh yeah, by the way, I said Lashon Hara about you. I think she cared that it bothered her that she said Lashon Hara about her? No. So that's how we have to be. Real. We have to be real with our feelings and real. When we say to someone, I care about you, you better care about them. But sometimes you could be a good actor. In the end, things that come from the heart go into the heart. And it's important to know that in any kind of relationship that you have, if you happen to be fortunate to be married to a good wife, then you have to appreciate her. You have to appreciate her. One of the people in my shul came up to me this year and said, Rabbi, he said, he's speaking Hebrew because they're all Israelis. He said to me, why don't you ask us again if I could say 5 good things about my wife? I said, okay, tell me 5 good things about your wife. And he did. I said, you like her better now? He said, yes. I said, good. And she said 5 good things about you? So he said, I think so. I said, ask her. I said, then you will have a good one. I had a custom when I was being Masada Kedushin. I used to sometimes give out these papers, and I would tell the Chazan Kala, learn 10 good things about each other, because life there's always friction, and that happens one tends to look for negative things, right? So if you have all these positive things that come to your mind, and with the snap of a finger, you have to think about them. You're so conscious of it that you remember when you married her, and you remember whatever it is, you'll be able to weather whatever the storms come your way.
Rabbi, there's a question on the chat from Menachem Stavnitzer. I'm sorry if I'm saying the name wrong.
Stavnitzer.
So Menachem asks like this. He says, what happens if we do not make up the debt from the Hihuri Tshuva? Is the Tshuva undone lemafreya? And what exactly is the debt?
No, the Tshuva is not undone lemafreya, but you have a debt. So if you don't pay for it, you don't do it in this world, so you may have to pay for it in the next world. How's that for happy ending?
Better that than having a debt of unresolved averas?
Well, that's really what you have. You're forgiven. Hashem forgives you, but you have a debt. And if you don't pay your debt, it's got to be collected. That's midas adin. So at some point, you'll have to pay for it. It's much better if you can do tshuva, and you can actually be sorry that you did it, and resolve not to do it anymore. But if you don't, and all you had was here, Hashem forgave you. You're not going to be punished for that, but you're going to have to pay the debt. You know, somebody took a stone and in a fit of anger threw it through his neighbor's window. Moshe often used. So you go to your neighbor and you apologize and you say, I don't know what happened. I never did anything like this before. I was just angry and I just threw it and I didn't. I hope no one got hurt. He said, no, I can understand, and he forgives you. But the window is broken. Until that window is fixed, when that window gets fixed, that's called kapara. To say, I'm sorry and I resolve, I'm not going to do it anymore, that's called tshuva. To say, I'm sorry that I did it and I won't do it anymore, that's tshuva. Right? But to fix the window, that's called kapara. We need kaparas.
Rebbe, a question from Elio Barzavan. He asks like this: when trying to focus on the good in other people, how do you silence in your mind the bad they've seen in them, or maybe even the damage they've done to you or to others?
Well, I think the secret is focusing. What are you looking at? The Gra said that the most difficult mitzvah in the Torah is v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Because there are some people who are such experts at being obnoxious that it's very, very hard to find good things about them. But everybody has good things, you know. So if you focus on it, so that's how we reclaim the mitzvah of the After the We try to focus on it. Again, Hashem just wants us to try. Whether we succeed or not, we need siyata d'shmaya. We have to daven. Hashem, help me. Hashem, help me do tshuva. Hashem, help me get a kapara. All those things, if you have a relationship with Hashem, so then that's what you are turning. That's whom you are turning to, because he is the other party in your relationship with him, and he will help. Hashem will help you, and you have to believe it. Sometimes you can't see it right away. You know? There's a medrash. It's a Pesikta Rabbah, Pesikta Rabbasi. Pesikta is a bunch of homilies and midrashim that was written in the later Gaonic period. And it says that when Avram was ready to shecht Yitzchak on the altar, so Malach came and said, Avram, what are you doing? So Avram looked at Malach, he said, who are you? And the Malach said, I'm a Malach of Hashem. He sent me to tell you, don't do this. I see on my screen, it says your internet connection is unstable. Okay.
You're coming in loud and clear, Rabbi. You're good.
Okay, good. He said, so Avram said to the Malach, he said, if Hashem wants me not to go through with this, he has to tell me himself, because he told me himself to do this, and if he wants me to stop, I want to hear him tell me himself. The Medrash says, Hashem opened up that.
I'm not sure what just happened. Hold on, everybody. All of us, no doubt, have a huge Hakara Satov and debt of gratitude to Or Sameach. Their IT system runs on Nisim Vinaflos, and unfortunately not a consistently high band. Rabbi Yaakov Altman says there's a power outage and Yeshiva has lost electricity. All right, so then I guess Rabosai, that concludes our pre-Yom Kippur Chabura with Rabbi Lazerus. Chaste Hashem, the power was cut at the end. Huge yasher koyach to Moreno Rabbeinu Rabbi Lazerus, and a huge yasher koyach to all of you. And I see that our dear Chaver, Mitch Spielfogel's on the call. Mitch, thank you so much.
I actually want to jump in and say we all owe a big thank you to Herschel for everything he's done putting this together, and we should not forget that.
I love you too. Thank you so much. Rabos, I have a beautiful, beautiful Zis and Yom Kippur. Take care, my friends.